Which of the following is a factor? So remember, if it's a factor, it has a remainder of 0. So you're going to test -2, +3, -4, and -5. And you could test using synthetic division, but I think it's even faster to test in one of two ways. So here are your two options. Synthetic division. Another option is you could individually substitute -2 in wherever you see an x. And if you evaluate this expression and you get an answer of 0, then you know that it is a factor. Also notice this. Do you see how each one of these is a nice integer? Okay, do me a favor. Only because they're a nice integer can we do this. Come up and let's plug it in. So let's go x to the 4th minus 27 x squared minus 14x plus 120. And there's two ways. We can look at the graph to see which one is an x-intercept and transfer it into a factored form, or we could look at the table form. So I can see that visually it appears like there is an answer at 2, 5, -3, and -4. But let's just check and see. So to check, you can do second trace value. I'm going to start with -4. So whoops, I did the wrong one there. It's my fault. -4. So -4 is a x-intercept. It's a 0. It's a root. If the x-intercept is -4, then how do we write it in factored form? X plus 4. Is x plus 4 any of the options? Yes. Done. But let's just go over this. If the x-intercept is -3, then how could you write it in factored form? X plus 3. And if x equals 2 is a factor, you'd write it as x minus 2, and again as x minus, this looks like 2, 3, 4, as x minus 5. Okay? Good to go. Let's go on to the next one. Which polynomial has zeros of 1 plus I, and of 1 minus I? So when you look at a coordinate plane, you are only able to actually identify roots that are real. So circle the +1. So we're just going to go one by one, and we're going to find out which one of these, after you graph it, has an x-intercept of 1, because these you cannot visually see. They're imaginary. So let's go up here, and let's just start with A. If A is incorrect, we'll check B, and we're just going to do process of elimination until we find one that has one x-intercept at +1. Make sure I type this in right. That's correct, and +1. Okay, I've got it correct. Does this appear to go through at x equals 1? Yes or no? Nope. So let's cross out A. I'm going to try B next. Maybe I can do this just by changing to speed up things. So I want to insert here. I want to insert, subtract 4. So now I have x to the 3rd minus 4x squared plus 3x minus 1. And you could just type in the whole thing again if you'd prefer to do that. Nothing. Does this appear to have only one real answer at 1? Nope. Okay, let's go to option C. So I'm going to keep the x to the 3rd. I'm going to change this -4 to a -3, the +3 to the +4, and subtract 2. Okay, does this appear to have an x-intercept and one x-intercept at 1? If you want to justify it, second trace value, you're checking what is the y-coordinate with x equals 1, and that is correct. Correct answer is C. Okay, with your partner, you're going to do the same thing. So this answer is going to be x-intercept of 1, -1, -4, and +5. Please type this in, both you and your partner, and find out which one of these is not an x-intercept. Okay, so it appears like -4 is an x-intercept. So you would write that if -4 is an x-intercept. I'm just going to justify that. Okay, it is. So I write it as x plus 4. That means answer C is true. We're looking for which one is not true. And it appears like 1 is an x-intercept. We're going to check. 1 is an x-intercept, so x minus 1 would be a factor. And this looks like 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And checking 5. 5 is also, so x minus 5 would be a factor. Which one is not? It would be x plus 1. What is the remainder when the polynomial is divided by x plus 3? So two options for doing this. Please look. Don't write this down. One option is doing synthetic division. The other option is taking this value, so the factor is x plus 3, and we're going to substitute -3 in for x. And we can maybe do that quicker than doing synthetic division. So I'm going to go 2, and then I have x, or -3 raised to the third power, plus 3 times -3 squared, subtract -3 plus 1. And I have a remainder of -23. Correct answer is B. Now you can flip to the back side. Okay, we've gone over problems like the first one. Which polynomial function has the following zeros? Okay, so let's split this up. I'm going to go one by one until I get the answer, but let's have you and your partner. One does A and B and the other does C and D. Looking for zeros of 2, -1, and 0. Alright, so if I zoom in here, if I zoom into the window, I can see one answer is at -1. It appears one is at 1 and one is at 2. So there's your 2, 0, and -1, but I want to make sure. So let's check. -1 is a 0. 0 is a 0. And 2 is a 0. So I just happen to get lucky. Correct answer is A. A is the correct answer. Whoever is doing A is correct. Please show your work on your calculator to your partner. Okay, next problem. This is one that's going to make you think. It says, if this expression is a factor of a polynomial. By the way, if this is a factor, then what is the x-intercept that belongs to this factor? X equals 2. And just so you know, that means if I went to +2, I would have, this graph would cut through the x-axis at +2. So, if x equals 2 is an x-intercept to this function, which of the following statements does not have to be true? So which one of these is not true? So let's start here. What does this mean? Because there was some confusion yesterday. This means when the x value is 2, the y value is 0. So is 2, 0 part of this function? Cross it out. Is -2, 0 part of this function? Do we know? How do I don't know. So right now I'm going to circle this. I think this is the right answer. 2 is a root. So is this true? 2 is a root, an x-intercept. Okay, that's true. And 2 is a 0. Hopefully you recognize by now the words roots and the words zeros and x-intercepts. They're all interchangeable. So B is the only one that does not have to be true. We don't even know if it's true. What is a factor of this polynomial? Okay, again, if x plus 3 is a factor, then what is the x-intercept that corresponds? -3, 2, -4, and 4. Please plug in this, graph it, and find out which one is an x-intercept, and then choose the corresponding factor. So negative 2 is, so I would see x plus 2. Okay, x plus 2 is an option. It looks like positive 2 is, but I want to check. Positive 2 is, so I'd see x minus 2. So I think the correct answer is B as in boy. But I'm going to extend this just to make sure I'm not missing anything. And positive 3 is also an x-intercept, so x minus 3 could be an option. We don't see that.